Manchester United are off to a winning start after beating Burnley 2-0 to get to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. This was a game defined by moments of brilliance by Man United and a lack of quality in the final third by Burnley. Vincent Kompany is definitely building something special at Burnley, and we'll talk about how his team dominated the ball in parts of this match. But first, let's take a look at how Man United won this game. Man United started out in a 4-2-3-1 that became a 3-3-1-3 in possession. We had Martial occupying one of these two center backs, Fernandes right in behind him in more of a free role, Garnacho holding high and wide on the left side, and Rashford holding high and wide on the right side. Then we had McTominay and Eriksen occupying these areas, with Eriksen being more deep to collect the ball from the defense, and one of the fullbacks dropping into midfield depending on where the ball was, right? So they were trying to protect the ball side with having more bodies in midfield. And we had Casemiro, Lindelof, and Malacia acting as the three center backs when this happened. And obviously when Wan-Bissaka was further back, Malacia would step into midfield to help Eriksen and McTominay dominate that area of the pitch. Even though Ten Hag didn't really have his full strength squad today, he set out to play a very, very attacking game against Burnley. Sometimes when Burnley was defending the ball really deep in their half, formation was more of a 3-2-5, where Eriksen would drop into, the CDM spot kind of to pick up the ball and play that quarterback role, find passes to Malacia on the left side or Garnacho on the left side or Wan-Bissaka and Rashford on the right side. Bruno had more of a free role where he was operating in these areas here on the left side or these areas here on the right side, so he could pick out a pass into the final third. And McTominay was given free license really to get into the box, take shots from at the edge of the box and things like that. Martial, unfortunately, was kept relatively quiet by Burnley. He couldn't really get into the game, but he was linking up play as it was necessary. And the use of the fullbacks was really interesting in this phase of play from Ten Hag, because Wan-Bissaka sometimes was underlapping Rashford, not just overlapping, and similar with Malacia, right? Malacia was happy to step into midfield to provide the cover when needed. Now, Ten Hag made some interesting selection calls in this game because he didn't have any of his center backs available. Varane and Licha were missing from the World Cup. I think Maguire is still not fit. So he only had Lindelof to play as a starting center back, and he decided to put Casemiro as the second center back. He actually looked decent in that position, and he looked decent on the ball as well. I think people maybe don't appreciate how hard it is for a central midfielder to fill in at center back. He was even attacking at right wing at times, occupying these areas when all the other players were in the box, right? McTominay, Fernandes, Garnacho, Malacia, everyone was in the box. Casemiro would actually double up on this area to pick up the ball and put crosses into the box. He was man of the match for me quite easily. He had a game-high 126 touches, 15 progressive passes, so passes into the final third, and 9 accurate long balls. Also 2 tackles and interceptions, 2 blocks, and 6 clearances. So an excellent performance from Casemiro, and I'm excited to see if maybe Ten Hag can use Casemiro as part of the back 2 or back 3 in games where we need to dominate the ball even more and the other team's just going to sit deep. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is one of those that hasn't played a game for United in a long time. He looked decent on the ball, but I still don't think he's up to Erik Ten Hag's standards in terms of what he wants from a right back. He showed great athleticism to get on the end of Bruno's ball from this area here that he cut back to Eriksen, and Eriksen put into the goal. I think his dribbling and passing still needs to improve, but his positioning today I was quite impressed by. He was occupying good areas high and wide and sometimes also underlapping, and like I explained before, playing as part of the midfield when it was necessary. I think he'll still be on the move in January, and in this game he looked decent. He had 1 assist, completed 2 dribbles, and won 9 out of 10 of his duels. So let's see what happens with Wan-Bissaka moving forward. Eriksen showed us again why he is the most important player for Erik Ten Hag in this team. He may not be the best, but definitely the most important. Was almost everywhere on the pitch, right? Dropping deep to collect the ball, getting forward on both wings when it's needed, putting good balls into the box, taking all our corners, taking all our free kicks. He is an amazing technical player, and he shows why our midfield is so much better than it was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? Because Fred and McTominay just don't have the class that he does to play through tight spaces, find the right players at the right time, and so on and so forth. I think McTominay, his stats were good today, but he still needs to improve his first touch in passing. He had 1 assist, 2 chances created, 57 touches, and also 1 dribble. He was allowed to get forward a lot, like I explained. He won 5 out of 5 of his tackles and 8 out of 12 of his duels. So those are the things that he's good at, but I felt like when the ball was fired into him, his first touch was really poor. He couldn't get it out of his feet. He seems to be lacking the balance to play the ball really quickly to another player that's near him. So he really needs to improve with all that if he wants to get back into this first team, because Casemiro is his competition. Bruno was a creative monster for this team today, but he was really wasteful at time, back to his sort of worst under Ollie, if you will. He had a game high 4 chances created, 61 touches, and also had 1 dribble, but only 72% pass accuracy. So 14 out of his 50 passes were misplaced. Took the sting out of our attacks a lot of the times. On the counter attack, we lost the ball instead of, getting a good chance at goal. I think Rashford took his goal well, but he still ran into players. So again, back to his old habits. I think he gave us the highlight of this game when he was on the left wing and he nutmegged Josh Cullen in the 64th minute at the edge of the box. That was really saucy. And finally, I think Dubravka in goal. He was really sloppy, man. I think he looks really nervous. Maybe the goalkeeping coach needs to give him some tips on how to stay in the game and not think too much about, oh my God, am I going to make a mistake and things like that. Lots of sloppy passes, miscontrolled the ball, almost went into his own net. So he really needs to improve if he wants to be the second in command for Man United. Now let's talk about Vincent Kompany's Burnley and how he managed to turn around the Sean Dyche low block park the bus system into a possession heavy system that involves good football. We had Ashley Barnes and Josh Brownhill playing as the 2 strikers, with Brownhill just in behind Barnes. We had Goodmanson and Benson holding high and wide, with Josh Cullen getting forward and helping those 2. We had Jack Cork holding as sort of the lone CDM, the 2 fullbacks high and wide past the CDM, and the center backs just in behind Jack Cork. So they were not afraid to hold on the halfway line and just use their offside traps to stop Man United from getting in behind, right? Because the pace of Rashford, pace of Martial, Fernandes, Garnacho was really something to worry about in defense, but they were not afraid of being countered. Out of possession, they were pressing high to win the ball back early as well. The Rashford goal actually comes from this because Goodmanson, Cullen, and Brownhill are all pressing in this area, and they leave Maatsen and Bayer alone against Rashford. Rashford dribbles all the way through the edge of the box, gets a little lucky with some of the dribbles and shoots past their goalkeeper to score. They really played some fearless football today. I know the game ended with only 45% possession to Burnley, but they actually started it out with having significantly more possession. And in parts of the game, United actually struggled to win the ball back, in part due to Fernandes consistently losing the ball in counterattacks, but still, credit goes to Burnley and Vincent Kompany. In terms of key players for Burnley, I think Manuel Benson looks really sharp. He has 7 goals in the championship this season. He's a great dribbler, looks like he has a solid left foot. He had 3 shots, 1 on target, and 1 successful dribble. He was doing some good stuff with Barnes, Brownhill, and Cullen on this side of the pitch and caused a lot of trouble for Malacia, Lindelof, and Eriksen when they had to defend them. Josh Brownhill as well looks pretty decent as a number 10. He has 5 goals and 5 assists in the championship this season. In this game, he created 3 chances, which was a game high for Burnley, 4 progressive passes, and also won 2 tackles from the pressing that he did from front. They are top of the championship this season, 4 points ahead of Sheffield United with 13 wins in 23 games. They've also scored 46 goals, which is by far the highest, 8 higher than the next best, with a goal difference of plus 22. And they also have the second highest average possession in the championship at 64%. I think they're definitely getting back into the Premier League, and they're going to shock some people with the complete reverse of style of play that they've got from remembering the Sean Dyche days to how Vincent Kompany plays with his side now. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack up next season in the Premier League. So Man United are through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. It'll be interesting to see who they match up against in the next round. I think Liverpool and Man City have a Carabao Cup game scheduled for tomorrow. Let's see how that game shakes out. But in this game for me, while Rashford, Wan-Bissaka, Eriksen all had good games, Casemiro was easily man of the match. This guy can do everything, man, so I'm so excited to see what he does for Man United moving forward. And thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, so please get me over the line. And stay tuned for more tactical analysis coming up for the Premier League and the other 4 top leagues in Europe. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next time.